Hello, everyone. Welcome to Free Write Friday. My name is Jessica Lynn Johnson, for those of you who don't know me. And I am the founder and the CEO of Soaring Solo Studios, which is a company dedicated to coaching, developing, directing, and producing solo shows all around the world. And I work alongside my fellow award-winning solo theater instructor, director, and performer, Heather Dowling, and we're blessed to work with artists all over the globe. And what else can I tell you? So I've been in this field for over 20 years. I've directed and developed over 175 solo shows and produced hundreds of solo shows. So it's definitely my passion. I toured for over 13 years with my two solo shows, Oblivious to Everyone and Z. And I'm a blogger for NoHo Arts. So if you go to the North Hollywood Arts website and look up Soaring Solo, you'll find my blog with a bunch of tips for solo theater artists. And I am on the advisory board with the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival. So that's a little bit about me. I would love to hear about you. Please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you are tuning in from, or if you're watching this back on YouTube, you can put it in the comments. So yeah, that is a little bit about me. So the mission of Free Write Friday, I do this event once a month typically, and it's just an opportunity for us to gather together in community and do some writing, move our solo show goals forward. So we don't really do Q&A in this setting. That's more reserved for my free Saturday morning class. And we don't really share the work that we write in Free Write Friday. So it's really just a concentrated writing time led by a prompt from me. So make sure you have something to write with and write on nearby. Okay, so we're gonna jump in as people are joining. Doing today a tiny bit differently. Normally I set the timer for 8 minutes after I give you the prompt and you just write straight through, but this prompt is going to be is made up of several components. You'll see what I mean in a second. So it's going to be a little bit different, but don't worry, I'm going to guide you through it. So today we're focusing on your brand as a solo artist. Your brand is really important. And I actually just wrote my blog for February on this concept of what is your brand as a solo artist and for your solo show. Um, and sometimes who you are as a person and your solo show and who you are as a solo artist, all those things are cohesive and they go together. And sometimes you find that how you show up on stage or in your solo show might feel different than how you walk through life. So, for example, one of my clients is a very successful stand-up comedian. And so her fans really know her in that way of just being hilarious and lots of great one-liners and all that stuff and kind of provocative. But in her solo show, she is much more serious, focused on self-help and transformation and kind of her evolution as a person. So it's a very different side of her. And even though there are definitely comedic moments all throughout her one-woman show, it is a very different style and tone than her when she stands on stage as a comedian. So the branding for those two different aspects of what she does are different. Okay, so another thing to consider where there might seem like there's some misalignment, but actually it all works together would be, if you're doing an autobiographical show, then a lot of times it's easy to think about what your marketing materials would be and how you brand yourself. But let's say you're doing a fantasy piece or a fiction piece or historical or biographical, something like that, it might feel a little harder to hone in on what your brand is. But what I would say is to consider that you are still the vessel that the story is coming through. So your unique spin on the story, your unique take and tone and personality are going to be what makes it different. That's why there can be 50 solo shows about, body dysmorphia or mental health or something like that. And yet they all can be completely unique so long as the performer is authentic in their expression. So with that in mind, I'm going to lead you through some categories that I want you to consider when you're thinking about your brand as a solo artist and with your solo show. And I don't want you to overthink this. I want you to just kind of go with first thought, best thought, and just write it down, knowing that you don't have to stick with this. You can finesse it later, and you certainly don't have to share what you write with anyone. So let yourself just see what comes up as I lead you through these categories. There's about 8 or 9 of them, and we'll spend about 8 minutes doing this. So it's going to be pretty quick and swift. So go ahead and get ready to write. And the first category I want you to think about is just colors and patterns, colors and patterns. So when you think about yourself as a solo artist, or you think about your solo show, or even you as a person, if you haven't really started on your solo show, what colors and patterns come up? Are you a plaids, florals, black and white, muted, bold, neons, earth tones? So just take a moment and write down colors and patterns. Okay. Next, I want you to start thinking about music that captures the spirit of you or your show, or you as a solo artist. Country, classical, hip hop, rap, heavy metal, meditation music, new age. Is it eclectic? What kind of music comes to mind? And even better if you can think of specific songs that come to mind. Okay, now I want you to shift gears and think about the personality of you or you and your show. Serious, dramatic, goofy, sexy, sensual, quirky, hilarious, educational, odd, surprising, edgy, provocative, sweet, comfortable, moody, emotional. Those are some examples. What is the personality of you or of you and your show? Now I want you to be thinking in terms of genre. So if your solo show or your life were a genre, would it be rom-com, murder mystery, comedy, dramedy, drama, period piece, edutainment, sci-fi, action, western, travel? What kind of genre does your show, your life seem to fit? I want you to be thinking about unique talents that potentially you could incorporate into your show. Um, Karate, singer-songwriter, improviser, painter, gymnast, dancer, poet, things like that. What kind of unique talents could you potentially incorporate into your show? I want you to think about the atmosphere or the environment it would feel like walking into if someone walked into your show. Does it have a real nature vibe? Maybe it's like a rock concert or a cabaret. Does it feel like a calm yoga class or a TED talk? Are we in outer space, an evening in Japan or some other country, an animal sanctuary, coffee house, a bar, classroom, a beach, under the sea? What's the vibe? What's the atmosphere, the environment you could see for your solo show? And again, don't overthink these things. Just write whatever comes to mind. You can adjust it later. And this one's kind of silly, but I think it's helpful. If you could see yourself or your show as an ice cream flavor, what would it be? Rocky Road, vanilla, dark chocolate, birthday cake, bubble gum, hazelnut. Think of yourself and your show as an ice cream flavor. What would it be? If you and your show were an animal, what animal would you be? Lioness, monkey, fish, kangaroo, fantasy, or like a fantasy animal, like a unicorn or a mermaid or something. We can think outside the box with this, but let's play with personifying. What kind of animal would your show be? And lastly, this is one of those things where it's a cross between. So for example, if the Pope and Lady Gaga had a baby, it would be your show. Or if CNN and Sesame Street had a baby, it would be your show. So I want you to think of things that maybe don't seem like they would go together, but perfectly capture different aspects of you and your show. So just play with that. If this and this had a baby, it would be your show. Okay, good job, everyone. So I know that was a little different than what we normally do, but hopefully it got you stretching your brain in all sorts of different directions when you think about branding your show and how to describe your show and what your show looks like and feels like and what the tone is and personality is. This is going to become increasingly important when you start to think about color schemes on stage and with lighting design and projections, and when you start to think about sound design, when you think about your pre-show experience as the audience is entering, or when you're taking your bow, what are you bowing to? It's going to matter when you're picking the font or working with a graphic designer to think about the colors on your graphic and posters and flyers, or what promotional materials you might give away, or if you have t-shirts and other things like that, what's going to be on them. And so, and it even works its way into the vernacular that you choose to say from stage. So really starting to think about yourself in terms of a brand, in terms of what is the personality and tone and vibe of your work as a solo artist is really important. And it touches all aspects of your solo show career and allows there to be a cohesive quality to what you bring to the table. So hopefully this will get you starting to think about that or think about it deeper if you already have the wheels turning. Um, I'm going to go through some announcements, and as I do, I'm going to put them in the chat for you. So, my next free class, my free Saturday class, which is called The Art of Creating the One Person Play or the One Person Show, is Saturday, March 15th, 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a 90-minute class for free. Been teaching that for almost 2 decades now. Just sign up on my website under free stuff. So I put all that in the chat. And you can bring material that you'd like to share in class and get feedback on. And if you don't have any material, I always do writing prompts in my free class as well. So you can show up with nothing and leave with something. The next thing, if you're ever interested in working with Heather or myself in a more professional capacity, run some ideas by us, or bring us a script and have us look at it, wherever you're at in your journey, help with touring and producing, all that stuff, you can set up a consultation with us. We also have small group coaching, power pairs intensives, all sorts of things. No pressure with any of that, but if you're interested, you can email me at soaringsoloartist@gmail.com for more information about that. Let's see. I also, sorry, I normally do this while you guys are writing, but I didn't really have a chance to put this in the chat while you were writing because I was leading you. Okay, so we also do a series called the Revealed Virtual Reading Series. And that's an online series that Heather and I produce where a solo artist will read a work in progress solo show script. And that's done in front of a virtual audience. So you can get feedback about what is working, what's not working before you go through the hassle of putting it up on stage and blocking it and memorizing it and all of that. You kind of want to know what's clear, what's unclear, what needs to be expanded upon, what is pulling people out, where are your blind spots, all those sorts of things. So if you're interested in being a part of Revealed, again, just email me and we can talk about the details of that. We work with your schedule and ours, and we find a date that works for everybody. We put the stake in the ground and we promote it together and make it a success. And it's always very informative during the creative process. And then if you enjoyed today and you want to come back, let's see, the next Free Write Friday is happening on March 21st. So let me get that in the chat as well. So March 21st, 10:45 a.m. Pacific, 12:45 Central, 1:45 Eastern, 20 minutes approximately like it was today. If you want to go back and watch other Free Write Fridays, I put them all on my YouTube channel. So you can go to my YouTube channel for Free Write Friday, and also a whole bunch of, I have hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel with lots of writing prompts and tutorials and all sorts of good stuff. So be sure to check that out. I just put that in the chat as well. I'm also a huge advocate of the festival circuit. So I'm going to put a list of some of the festivals. This is certainly not a complete list that the Soaring Solo community has participated in. There's the Binge Fringe Festival over at the Santa Monica Playhouse, which actually just kicked off the other night. It's free theater, so if you're in the Los Angeles area and you want to go see some free solo shows, it's a grant-funded festival. They do pay the artists through the grant, but it's free for the audience to attend. So you can just go to the Santa Monica Playhouse website and look at their Binge Fringe Festival schedule and see what's coming up. There's also the New York City Fringe Festival, which I believe is now called Frigid. The Orlando Fringe Festival, which has been around for over 30 years. Hollywood Fringe Festival, which happens every year in June. The LA Women's Theater Festival, the Soaring Solo Stars series. United is another really big festival that's in New York City. I've got a lot of clients who are going to be heading that way this spring and into the fall. So those are just a handful. But there's always a lot of festivals. And I think thinking about the festival circuit and getting involved in the festival circuit is a great way to have built-in support as you tour your show, because you're going to have enforced deadlines, you're going to have community built in, other people working toward the same goal. You're likely to get reviewers to come see it, audience testimonials be considered for awards and nominations and things like that when you're part of a festival versus just, randomly renting a theater and doing a self-production. I think in the beginning stages, it can be really advantageous to associate yourself to a festival. So just something to consider. And then I'll put my blog link in there again as well. So if you're curious to see more about what I said about branding, you can go to my NoHo blog, which has a bunch of other entries as well. And then last but not least, tomorrow and the following week, March 8th, although you can go to one or both weeks if you are in the Los Angeles area. Heather Dowling, who I mentioned earlier, who's an award-winning solo theater director and coach and solo artist herself, is teaching our Creating Captivating Characters gym for, so it's specifically catered towards solo theater characters. And when you're playing, like Heather plays over 50 characters in both of her solo shows, you're playing that many characters, there's a lot of technique that's really necessary to make them distinct and dynamic and memorable to the audience. So she goes through teaching you all of that really strange and odd but beautiful technique that solo theater artists need to know. So you can join us for that tomorrow if you're in the Los Angeles area. It's in person at a Los Angeles acting studio. I'll give you the location after you sign up. 10 a.m. to noon Pacific, also happening on March 8th. So if you just go to one of the sessions, it's $59. If you go to both, you get a $20 discount. So it's $98 for both. So it's really great to get up on your feet, learn the technique, and have Heather work with you on your characters. So if you don't have anything written, that's fine. You can improvise. And if you do have some stuff written or some characters in mind, she can help you with that as well. And you can print the pages and bring them with you. So that's it, everybody. I am going to jump off, but I will leave the chat up in case you're still writing things down. And thank you so much for joining me today.